If you've seen any of the videos on this channel, you will likely recognise this image. If you haven't, here's a quick rundown. This is the Dialectical Matrix. It represents the notion of perspective. All of the ideas we have about any philosophical topic, and all of the theories we have based on those ideas, can be defined by their locations on this structure. The structure can be thought of as a coordinate system, with the x-axis expressing the degree to which a perspective is influenced by external experience, and the y-axis expressing the degree to which it is influenced by our internal experience. We can thus derive 4 generalized perspectives on any given problem, and all of the perspectives relating to a particular quadrant can be thought of as an ideology. The ideology of objectivism is attracted towards the outer, objective world, and subjectivism is attracted towards the inner, subjective world. There are, however, 2 additional ideologies. The superjectivist is attracted equally to the subjective and the objective, for they are attracted to the unity and complementarity they see to exist between them. And the abjectivist is repelled from taking a position of bias towards the subjective or objective respectively, which they understand to be mutually contradictory and therefore irreconcilable. The dialectical matrix reflects both our intellectual ability to define and analyse the world through philosophy, and it also reflects how the world appears to us in our experience. The mind, mental processes, and ideas are located in the subjectivist quadrant. The body, physical processes, and material objects and events are located in the objectivist quadrant. Self-consciousness is located in the superjectivist quadrant, but in this video we shall discuss that which directly opposes conscious self-recognition, the mysterious, abject other, the empty, the dark, the unconscious. The term abjective comes from the Latin root ab, which means away from. This is in contrast to the root ob, which means towards. The abjectivist therefore turns away from any bias towards the subjective or objective respectively. Bulgarian-French philosopher Julia Kristeva used the term abjection to refer to the feeling one experiences when confronted with a breakdown in the distinction between what is self, subjective, and what is other, objective. It therefore refers to that which disturbs the social standards which make way for growth and order in the world. In Jungian psychological theory, the abjective corresponds to introverted thinking, which does not rely explicitly on the ideal objects of subjectivity, nor on the empirical objects of the environment. Rather, the introverted thinker is concerned with ideas and theories derived through intuition and reason. While they utilize information provided by the object and qualities realized as a subject, their ability to manipulate these ideas into their own perspective is the key factor in their temperament. They are more likely to hold unique or controversial opinions as they are less influenced by social consensus. In the study of knowledge, abjectivism corresponds with the synthetic a priori, which is neither logical nor empirical. In the view of Immanuel Kant, certain ideas reflect necessary conditions for experience, and he argued that mathematics and geometry are both known via the synthetic a priori. In the study of being, abjectivism relates to objects which are both abstract and particular. These are generally entities without a determinate location in space-time, and which are not general qualities. The most obvious candidates for abstract particulars are mathematical entities like numbers and propositions. This would make sense because the synthetic a priori is also concerned with numbers and propositions. In the study of value, the objectivist perspective holds that value is objective, yet is also in a sense relative. That is, it exists as a real feature of the world, but there is not always just a single valid moral choice or aesthetic judgment. There are guiding principles, but not absolute imperatives. And finally, we consider political theory. Here, the subjectivist perspective is that we have a principal right to equality, collectivism, while the objectivist perspective is that we have a principal right to liberty, libertarianism. Insofar as the objectivist recognizes both of these values as equal yet incompatible, they accept that there must be a degree of unavoidable inequality and authority under authoritarian individualism. State capitalism, as it is also called, is naturally the class that most applies to the modern developed world. It is a moderate class in relation to socialism and anarchism, for it is devoted to neither extreme. Together, these ideas provide the foundation for the ideology I refer to as Abjectivism. This ideology is oriented by its own lack of bias, for while the objective and subjective are both parts of our experience, they are nevertheless opposites. To find unity amongst these opposites while avoiding contradiction, it is beyond appearances that the objectivist must search. Abjectivism arises in all philosophic disciplines as a response to the dogmatism and intolerance implied by biased opinions. If we consider opinion as a spectrum, then the extreme objectivist on one end would be they who wish to eliminate the mind, just as the extreme subjectivist would eliminate matter. As we move closer towards the centre, towards the abjective, our perspective becomes ever more accepting of its opposite. Philosophical moderatism can therefore be thought of as an ethic. It confers empathy, open-mindedness, and a willingness to entertain disparate opinions. Moreover, in some areas of philosophy, moderatism begets morality. In political theory, for example, extremism would lead to complete authority or complete inequality, and so extremism is seldom seen as a moral ideal. Indeed, Aristotle defined the virtues of character as the golden mean of two extremes. For instance, too little courage leads to cowardice, too much to recklessness. However, there is a serious problem here. Abjectivism can itself be thought of as an extreme view in disguise, extreme moderatism. That is, Abjectivism is the view that if we cannot discriminate between opposing perspectives, and if both perspectives cannot succeed together, then both perspectives must fail. It is the opposite of harmonious balance. If rationalism and empiricism are contradictory, they both fail. If idealism and materialism are contradictory, they both fail. If equality and liberty are contradictory, they both fail. And if we deny that our naive perception of thoughts and things has any kind of reality, the objectivist must hypothesize an entirely unfamiliar world which no longer has any direct connection to our dualistic experience. And again, since neither pure logic nor experimentation has any access to the transcendental, the objectivist is ultimately resigned to hypotheses seeking unity with synthetic a priori truths. Indeed, Objectivism lies at the end of the road for any inquiry that surpasses appearances and penetrates into the unmanifest. This tradition can be traced back to David Hume's deconstruction of naive realism, that we cannot directly and accurately perceive the outside world, and subsequently with Immanuel Kant's transcendental idealism, that the real world exists beyond all experience and thought. A really strong argument could be made that these two men are together the most ingenious of all the philosophers, and it is very clear to see that Abjectivism generally is associated with ingenious ideas. It must be, because it is the rejection of the obvious and the imagination of a common ground for opposing viewpoints. The principal successors to Kant's general thesis can be reduced to Abjectivism, including phenomenology, structuralism, and psychoanalysis. Moreover, the least understood field in all of science, which attracts only the smartest of minds, quantum physics, theorizes a reality entirely foreign to the macroscopic domain of phenomenal experience. And even modern theories which are currently leading the counter-cultural charge against materialism, I'm thinking of those many variations of simulation theory, are rooted in a reality that lies beyond both the mental and the material, which comprise all experience. And yet, I would like to suggest to you that our intellect is too easily fooled. It gets carried away with doing what it's good at doing, endlessly inventing problems to solve in the journey towards some theory of everything that exists as a vanishing point ever on the horizon, never taking a step back to see the simple truth. The objective is the interminable attractor of the intellect, drawing it in like a moth to a flame. Appearances dissolve into it, conflict forces us towards it, openness and tolerance rely on it. Genius is that which is capable of reaching it. The entrapment arises when we forsake our vital experience in favour of the unknown and transcendent, for in doing so we become blind to the dependence of the transcendent on the appearance of duality, and the appearance of duality on the immanence of conscious experience. Genius stares into the abyss, imagining that what is grounded in what is not. But something does not come from nothing alone. Potential only becomes actual when it is actualized by that which exists absolutely. So, if objective potential is regarded as the ground of the actual, then superjective awareness is the sky, and the two project inwards to form our relative world of being. If genius seeks the abyss, then paradise is sought by the wise. As you will find in your exploration of paraphilosophy, our new philosophical science, extremism is only a problem when it is discriminatory, but complementary extremism, which is the essence of harmonious balance, where both sides are accepted and allowed to flourish fully, is the only true morality, and the only true metaphysic. While there is truth in the claim that our reality is born of potential, potential itself is unreal, and unreal things are untrue. Therefore, it is my conjecture that the strongest ideas are the worst, and the weakest are the best. That is, the more moderate the idea, the less truth it has, while nevertheless being more ingenious and more explanatorily powerful. Conversely, the more extreme the idea, the more truth, but the less genius, and the less power and completeness. Reality is ultimately simple, but it will respond with complexity whenever we ask it to do so. Whenever we look more deeply, and we can always look deeper because the ultimate ground is nothing. To look for such an ultimate ground, you must turn your back to existence. You must turn your back to the truth. Intelligence is the most important part of the development of human life, but it is misdirected. Its purpose is not to uncover some mysterious source. Its purpose is to recognize that the true source is not mysterious at all, for that source is the self of each and every one of us, and only the self's unconscious face lies below, while the creative power of consciousness is above. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is actually going to be part of probably 4 videos. In the next part, we shall explore further the rationale behind transcendentalism, particularly as it emerges in the psychoanalytic traditions of Jacques Lacan and Carl Jung. Please consider subscribing to this channel with notifications on, because the next parts will provide a lot more context to what you have heard in this one. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.